on the DPW committee, Councilor Majuk, and then also joining us from the council are Councilor Hogan, Councilor Peniagua, and Council President Hudson. So we'll start with item number 1, Mary, which is the engineering.
Good afternoon, councilors. This item is our annual renewal to our membership with the Stormwater Coalition meeting. the Central New York Stormwater Coalition through the Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board. The annual price is $3,600, which it's been that way for a very long time. This is a very worthwhile organization to maintain its membership because it helps us meet our stormwater management responsibilities that are monitored by DEC and EPA. So it's
Mary, can you just give me a little background on the coalition as to like the reason for why it's formed and our obligations in it, that aspect of it?
Sure. It was formed, I guess this is our 13th year, so it's approximately 30 different communities in the Central New York area are members. As part of the stormwater management responsibilities that we have public information components, training, and it also helps us be a member of the coalition in obtaining grants for stormwater related requirements. And it helps us work as a collective voice with all the other neighboring communities. Right now, the DEC is revamping these stormwater requirements. So membership in this committee keeps us up to date on the new requirements and gives us a whole community voice when we're reviewing what the proposed requirements are.
So essentially, rather than have each individual municipality come up with the expertise to manage this, we share them together, and then that knowledge is kind of passed along to all the municipalities. Is that the high level what it is?
Yes, it is. I mean, we still have individual responsibilities, but they help. There's 6 main objectives that we have to report on twice a year to the DEC, and this membership in the coalition helps us with 3 out of the 6. And if we had to do it on our own, I'm sure it would cost us more than $3,600, and we wouldn't be as successful because we don't have that, that cooperativeness among the members and the tools.
Questions from any of the councilors?
Mary, you said they help with grant. Has there been any grant that they have helped write recently?
In terms of the grant, it would be a grant awarded to the coalition, and yes, we haven't been awarded a grant in a couple years, but we have been awarded grants for mapping our stormwater system.
So if we were to do this directly with DEC, what would be the cost?
We wouldn't be able to get a grant because one of the requirements is that this cooperative effort among the different members.
But I'm saying in terms of membership, if we were to have our own membership there, what would be the cost there to have a membership directly with DEC?
I'm not quite sure I understand the membership with DEC to get a grant.
No, you said part of why we are paying this money is to be able to be a member with them, right? And
no,
then
it's a member of the Stormwater Coalition, and being a member helps us meet the requirements that DEC imposes upon each of these municipalities.
Okay, but there's no way we could be. So we have to go through them, right? Is that what you're saying? We have to go through them to be able to get anything from DEC in terms of grant and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay.
For this specific type of grant, yes.
Okay. So I guess what I was asking earlier is, assume that we wanted to be to not have membership with them. what would it cost us? Generally, yeah.
What would it cost us to meet all the requirements?
What would it cost us to meet all the requirement? And I guess one of the benefit here that you expressed was that, out of the 6 requirement that the DEC wants from us, they take care of the 3. And
Yes.
right. And then
Yes.
and then what part of that additional benefit is that we are able to apply for grant under them, right?
Yes.
And so I guess my question is, which you kind of answer in part, is it possible to not go through them? And if we don't go through them, what would that cost us?
A lot more than $3,600 a year.
Okay, and you don't have a number.
I don't have a number on that. I mean, but it would be a great hardship, and it would be a loss of useful information that the coalition provides to us that we would have to obtain independently.
Mm.
I mean, there's 30 communities that are a part of this. Camillus, Syracuse, basically the county's a member. I can get you a list of all the communities that are members. But it's a very valuable organization to help us meet these state and federal requirements.
And I guess we've been members since 2007. I think that's what the letter said, right? Since 2007.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions from councilors?
Also, Councilor Green, I just wanted to update you guys on legislation that I didn't make this agenda, but I'll be submitting it on the next agenda. And that's amending the project legislation for security system at City Hall and City Hall Commons. As you know, we've changed the single entrance to Market Street with a new ramp that's being built. The railing was just installed yesterday. As part of that project, we determined, with all the icicle problems that we have on that side of the building, that we're going to put some ice melting equipment on the roof, and other deterrents to help with the roof drains and ice forming on the roof during our winter months. So I'm going to be amending that legislation for the added cost of the ice melting system. The CIP originally had that project at 500,000, and we came to you a month or 2 ago for 200. So I'm working out how much additional money we need for the ice melting system. So that'll be on the next agenda.
Does that create any issues with historic preservation or anything like that as in City Hall or Myanmar?
I believe our consultants told us that we don't need to go to SHPO. It's not anything that's really, it's equipment that's installed in the roof drains. So it's really not visible.
Okay.
So, but yes, we're making sure that we meet all required SHPO requirements.
Okay.
So that'll be on the next agenda. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up because I just don't have the budget quite done yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. All right, we'll go to item 2, and the remaining items are all water related. So, Commissioner Awell.
Hello. Yes, item 2. I don't have the agenda in front of me, but I'm assuming it's the JMA South Clinton water main replacement.
That's right.
So this item is part of that JMA campus upgrade. What they need to do to have a viable water main cutting through that area is we came to an agreement of them removing and replacing the existing water main with a brand new water main, same size. We would supply the material, they would provide all the design, labor, and approvals for it, and we would take over ownership of the water main after it was installed and improved or approved by the health department. Any questions on this?
How much do the materials cost?
I want to say about $1,200 in materials.
And what's the current state of the water main now? I mean, what's like the expected useful life, or if this project wasn't going on, what would we be doing?
Let me see if I can pull up the age real quick on that water main, but I believe it's probably pretty safe bet that most of our stuff is old. But let me see if I can pull up the exact age for you real quick.
And then I guess the portion that JMA is going to pay for the design and all that aspect of it, what does that typically cost? I mean, I guess I'm curious, what percentage of the cost of it?
I mean, our percentage of the cost is probably, because we got material cost at our contract cost is 5%, if that, of what the total labor cost is for that construction. So we should be in pretty good shape.
That's in addition to the cost of the material, right, Commissioner?
So their cost will be for all the labor, the materials, the equipment, and everything to do the connection, the install, pressure testing, the disinfection, reconnecting any services that need to be made, or installing any services that need to be made. That cost can range anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000. Now, it depends on the depth that main is going to be going in, but there'll probably be a standard depth of 5 feet of cover. Water mains in that area, we don't have dates on all of them, but the one over on Oneida Street is from 1912, so it's probably in that same vintage.
And you're not sure. And you said it's going to cost $1,200 per material. Is there a number on how many material we're going to need?
Yes, we have it all. Amount of linear footage and valves necessary. Excuse me. I might have misspoken. I might have meant to say $12,000, not $1,200. Because we're putting in about 700 feet of water main. So, and we got all the materials at our contract cost that was really at manufacturer's cost. I mean, we couldn't have gotten a better deal on materials if we tried.
And Commissioner, if I'm reading it correctly, basically it's guaranteed for 5 years. If something happens the first 5 years, they will be responsible for.
Can you say that again? It was a little bit broken up.
Yeah, so my read of the agreement is that they have responsibility for guaranteeing the work for 5 years. So if it breaks in the first 5 years, they'd be responsible for it.
Correct.
Any other questions?
So it's going to be, the cost here is going to be $840,000, Commissioner?
Our cost?
Yeah, because I think you say 12,000 per material, and you have, right, and you have about 700 of them? Is that what you said?
No, that's 12,000 is about the total cost of our materials. The labor and all that will be pushed on to JMA doing the construction work, so our total cost will be between, about $12,000. So it won't be the $200,000 cost that we would typically incur if we were trying to replace this amount of linear footage of water main.
And that will include the part that we may need to order and the in-house material that we already have, right?
Yeah, we already have all the materials stocked. We're ready to go as soon as they get their design prepped and approved.
So, Counselor, just to summarize, if we're going to say that it costs $200,000, essentially it would be that JMA is going to pay $188,000.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions on this item? Okay. All right, item 3, American leak detection.
So the
Councilor
American Leak
Green.
Detection,
Councilor Green, Councilor Hogan was trying to weigh in. He wasn't being heard.
Councilor Hogan, can you talk now? Councilor,
I see him
this.
talking.
I'll call you on your phone and then you can talk on my phone. Let me do that right now.
Yes, hold it.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
there you go.
It's
Councilor
working.
Green, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just was, I'm sorry, I don't have the legislation before me, but I was, usually in a development project like this, there's, the developer pays the entire cost, in conjunction with the development. So I was wondering, Commissioner, you mentioned that there was some sort of an agreement. Was that agreement just between you and the developer, or was it agreement between you and SIDA? Or between the developer and SIDA?
I think it was a conversation between us and the developer and City Hall.
So it was
in order
by
to
the
make
mayor
sure
and
we,
SIDA, in other words, right?
yeah, don't remember who was on the phone call at the time, but in order to maintain the consistency with materials and all that stuff, and delivery times, it was part of our discussion that, to help entice getting this replaced in a timely manner, we could provide the materials at our
But we're
cost.
paying for the materials, correct? Or the $1,200 that Councilor Majuk mentioned?
Yeah, that's our material cost, correct.
So the city's incurring the cost.
For the materials, yes.
Okay. I'm just saying that most of these projects that I've been involved with, the developer pays the entire, we might order the materials, but the developer pays the costs, the entire cost. So we're deviating from that more or less. You probably don't have a history of it, so I just wanted to make that point.
Okay, I'll take a look into it.
It's unusual as in any kind of project that I've been associated with ever. That's all I got, Councilor Grant. I just want to bring that up.
No,
I think
thanks.
it's important.
I mean, I'm relatively new, I guess, Counselor, but do we have another example of a water main replacement like this? I'm just trying to figure out what would be the good comparison. But we can just think about that, I guess, before our next meeting, if there is another one or there's a precedent for this.
Well, I obviously, Councilor Green, I haven't been on the council in 5 years, but I mean, I've been involved in a lot of development projects, and it's almost pro forma that the developer pays the entire cost of everything. Any kind of structural improvements or any kind of structural change.
I mean, Councilor Green, Councilor Hogan does raise a very good point. Now, is there somebody that can help us understand what he's raising? Because if that is true, and now I'm saying if because I don't know. If that is true, that could impact how we proceed with this. Is there somebody that can clarify this? I see Auditor Marume. I don't know if he knows.
We can look into some of the past practice about this, but this was a very economical way for us to replace a water main that has had issues in the past and has run its useful life course. And in order not to be coming back here once construction starts, it was a kind of a mutual agreement that, hey, if we can get this replaced at a very cheap cost and timely manner, we could provide the materials, because materials are somewhat, with everything happening with shipping and all that, sometimes hard to come by. And we typically stock the materials at a pretty good quantity, not knowing what we're going to run into.
But Commissioner, I'm not arguing with the logistics of it or your role in it. I'm just saying that the cost should be borne by the developer. Whether it's him paying the bill that for the pipes or the infrastructure improvement that you have garnered. I mean, it's like the developer usually pays for everything.
Counselor, this is Corey. I think we can either revisit the issue with JMA or determine whether or not there is a precedent that this is the way we've executed any projects in the past. So we'll just look into that just to move the conversation along.
Well, Corey, I mean, to that point, it's that normally the precedent, I mean, like I said, things have changed, but any project improvement that's conjunction is usually paid for by the developer. If we
Sure.
vary from that precedent, then that way we could, it's understandable, but that precedent is moved around, and that's sort of a dangerous way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think I would just need to confirm whether or not that's what we're doing in this case, and I just don't think we have the right folks in the virtual room right now to say that. So we'd be happy to look into it to see if we are deviating from precedent, and if we are, why are we doing it?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Awald, number 3 is the American Leak Detection.
So American Leak Detection is our, want to renew our contract with them. They're a leak detection company we can utilize if we can't get to identifying leaks, and help us to search different zones of the city periodically for leaks that we can address before they become breaks. So there's an extra set of hands to help us identify stuff before it becomes a big problem. Any questions?
Okay. Item 4, parking lot lease.
So yes, this one is the parking lot, which is across from our facility. We've been leasing it for a while now. I think at least 10 plus years. It's for employee parking because there is no street parking along Erie Boulevard or the other streets in the vicinity of the water department. Any questions?
Okay. All right, so going through the list of the 4, I think for item 2, we just want to make sure we get those answers, Corey, I guess, before we were to vote on it. So my preference would be to, Councilor Majuk, if it's okay, we'll move all these, but then if we decide we want to hold item 2 when it actually comes before the full council, then we'll do that at that time, if that's okay with you. Thank you, mute.
All right, I was saying I'm okay with it. Let's move pending the information.
Sounds good. Okay, all right, well, thank you all very much. See you next time.